Imagine living a life where every word you speak, every move you make could get you killed, where your friends and family and even your own instincts can betray you at any moment. This wasn't a movie, this was the reality of Joseph Piston, the FBI agent who spent 6 years undercover inside the Mafia under the name Donnie Brasco. His story became the blockbuster film Donnie Brasco, but the real events were far more terrifying and dangerous. Today we're diving into the real life of Joseph Piston, the man who lived as a mobster, fooled organized crime, and helped bring down an empire from the inside. Joseph D. Piston was born in 1939 in Erie, Pennsylvania. From an early age, he had a sharp mind, a strong sense of justice, and uncanny ability to read people. He joined the FBI in 1969, quickly distinguishing himself with intelligence, persistence, and courage. But no one could have predicted the mission that would define his life. By the late 1970s, the FBI was facing a major problem: the Mafia, particularly the Bonanno family in New York. It was growing more violent and more powerful, and increasingly difficult to penetrate. The FBI needed someone from the inside, someone who could infiltrate the family without raising any suspicion. And enter Donnie Brasco, Piston's undercover identity. Posing as a jewelry thief, he built a new life from scratch. He developed a backstory, learned the Mafia's language, and even adopted a strong New York accent. Every detail had to be perfect. If he slipped up, his life would be forfeit. The FBI gave him a critical directive: gain the trust of the Mafia and gather actionable intelligence. Piston immersed himself in the mob's world, spending years cultivating relationships with key members. He met Sonny Black, Lefty Ruggiero, and other high-ranking mobsters, all while hiding his true identity from everyone. Getting inside the Mafia wasn't about getting up and introducing yourself to everyone. It was about being seen until he became familiar. He positioned himself in places where naturally mob associates spend their time: jewelry districts, bars, and social clubs. He didn't chase mobsters, he left them noticing him. And then came the breakthrough. Lefty Ruggiero, a veteran Bonanno soldier who saw Donnie as a small thief with potential. Piston played the role flawlessly, talking trade, moving merchandise, and acting disappointed not by setbacks, but by wasted opportunity. He followed Mafia's etiquette closely: who to greet, when to stay silent, and when to offer loyalty without begging for it. Confidence mattered, and desperation was fatal. He earned trust by being reliable, showing up and getting things done, and letting others vouch for him. And in the Mafia, being vouched for is everything. But that trust came at a cost. The longer he stayed, the deeper the transformation ran, and Donnie Brasco wasn't just a cover anymore. He was becoming real. Once Piston was accepted, the real work began. This wasn't sitting quietly in rooms anymore. He was now moving with them. He rode in cars where guns rested between seats, and no one bothered to hide them. He traveled with mobsters across state lines to collect debts, sell stolen jewels, and deliver messages that weren't meant for outsiders. He entered all kinds of places where conversations were whispered and decisions lasted forever. Sometimes his job was simple: just watch the door. Other times, it was being introduced to people he was never supposed to meet. Men who didn't shake hands slightly, men who expected loyalty without hesitation. He helped moving stolen merchandise, sorted jewelry, and verified gems. But the danger wasn't in the jobs, it was in the questions. Why did you hesitate? Where were you last Friday? Who introduced you to him? Every answer had to be instant and natural. And then came the invitations: private meetings, long drives, late night sit-downs. Moments where mobsters decide your future based on how you speak, where you looked, and what you dared to say. And through it all, Piston stayed steady. Not because he wasn't afraid, but because he couldn't afford to be. He delivered results, he made other men money, he did his job so well that the mob stopped testing him and started trusting him. And when the Mafia trusts you, they don't let you go. Piston's work had massive consequences. He gathered evidence that led to the conviction of over 100 mobsters. The FBI dismantled parts of the Bonanno family and disrupted organized crime across New York. And these weren't small-time criminals. This was the heart of the American Mafia Mafia. His intelligent work also revealed internal Mafia conflicts, money laundering schemes, and the hidden power struggle that kept the Bonanno family ruling for years. All of this was made possible because one man risked everything to live a lie. The stakes were life and death. At one point, Piston was asked to perform tasks that could have endangered him and others. The Mafia's suspicion was growing, and one wrong word or misstep, and his cover would have been blown. He even feared for his family. The mob didn't hesitate to punish the loved ones. But Piston's preparation and his ability to stay calm under pressure allowed him to navigate these dangerous situations. And each narrow escape added to the tension, creating a story that was stranger and more terrifying than fiction. Eventually, the FBI had to pull him out, fearing for his life. The evidence that he collected crippled the Bonanno family, but Piston's personal life was forever changed. He had lived a double life for 6 years, forming bonds with people who wanted to kill him. The psychological toll was immense, and his safety remained a concern long after he left the Mafia. Piston went on to write a book detailing his experience, which became the movie Donnie Brasco. While Hollywood dramatized some of the aspects, the essence of his story, courage, cunning, and survival remains true. Joseph Piston's story is more than just espionage and courage. It's a lesson in resilience and strategy, and the human capacity to navigate extreme danger. For Americans fascinated by true crime stories, Piston's life is a blueprint for undercover work and the sacrifices it demands. His work also reshaped how FBI conducts undercover operations. He proved that patience, meticulous planning, and psychological insights could penetrate even the most dangerous crime organizations. And perhaps most importantly, he showed that one man's courage can change the course of justice. So what can we learn from the story of Joseph Piston? 3 key lessons stand out. Preparation is everything. Piston spent years learning the culture and the language of the Mafia before even entering the field. Courage under pressure. His ability to stay calm in very dangerous situations was critical. And finally, long-term vision. Every conversation and relationship was part of a bigger plan, showing the power of patience and strategy. For creators and strategists, or anyone facing high-stakes challenges, these lessons resonate far beyond the world of organized crime. Joseph Piston lived a life you could imagine, risking everything to protect others and dismantle one of the most dangerous criminal organizations in history. His story reminds us that truth is often stranger than fiction, and courage can be found in the most unexpected places. This is the end of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have more ideas for me to cover in the next episodes, leave it in the comments. Until next time.